It is a nice day to hit the Goodwill outlet. Let's pop our head in here and see if we can't find anything on the cheap. I'm feeling like I want to keep my costs pretty low today. So I'm going to need to make some more trips to the outlet than I am normally making just because it's such a thin June. But listen, I'm here to turn this all around. Quick price check, $229 for clothing, $199 for hard goods. And my personal favorite next to wear a shirt, police your children. All right. Get these blue bins and we are going to start digging. This is quite a grind. I'm always impressed with the people that can do this day in and day out because boy, oh boy, it takes a ton of energy. So let's see. Actually, you're going to see here in just a minute. I find an item that's interesting in a brand I don't normally ever pick up. What was that? I don't know. Some of this, and I try to show you the brands we're looking at. This is a kids Eddie Bauer shirt. Can't really use that. Coats. Not really looking for heavy stuff, but you see this here. This is a Tommy Hilfiger Shawn Mendes collaboration. I have it cleaned up. Looks like it's got a little bit of dirt on it, but I wasn't even aware that this was a collab that exists. I think I've sold maybe one Tommy Hilfiger item in the entire time I've been reselling. They're color block shirts. You remember those old vintage color from the 90s with the Tommy Hilfiger logo over the pocket on the left chest or right chest. I don't remember exactly, but I didn't know there was a Shawn Mendes collaboration. He has a Tommy Hilfiger shirt that looks like an American flag that I think would do really well right now as of the time of this posting because we have the 4th of July coming up as a holiday. I bet if those shirts turned up, they would sell. As for the heavy hooded sweatshirt, I don't really know. There was a sold from like over a year ago for $85 for that, but I went to the Hilfiger website. The collab is now long over. The pages all either redirect or they're empty. And I don't know if I can get 85 for that a year later. Sometimes collaborations, they're limited edition. They fizzle out and it doesn't look like the Shawn Mendes one has like really caught up. So I have mine listed for 50, cleaned it up, and we'll see what happens. It's already got a watcher on it. Maybe I will get lucky. The first rotation that I caught when I got here was the hats and the bags. One of the things that I grabbed that you didn't see or you won't see was a Cole Haan leather purse, but unfortunately the inside of it was too dirty. So I was like, you know what? I got lucky right off the bat. So I left that behind and we're just going to continue to dig, looking at this leather wallet that looks like it was in pretty poor shape. I did get a couple of hats. You'll see some of it towards the end of the video because some things I catch on camera, some things I don't. Sometimes I have my phone out and sometimes I don't. People have asked me in the past why I don't use the GoPro. So I try really, it's easier for me to manage what I am trying to show you if I can see it through my phone. The GoPro, technically speaking, it like disappears like as it's recording, and I have to continuously hit for those of you that have GoPros know what I'm talking about. I constantly have to hit the screen to make sure that I'm filming the correct vantage point. It's kind of annoying. This is one of the hats I'm going to grab, Split Bar, the game. It's fitted. I don't normally pick up fitted hats. It's a 7 3/8. I'll list that for like $14, $15, but it's just easier overall for me to control what I'm showing you when I use my phone. So we're going to do this with one hand and see if we can do our best. I'm not really impressed with some of the things that I'm finding here, as you can see. Some backpacks, generic stuff, lots of hats that I don't think I could use. Canvas Jaguar bag, it might have been worth looking up. Steve Madden, that was in pretty terrible condition. Let's leave that behind. That was one of those, I forget the brand on those wallets. That could have been something to look up. They do a bunch of cat designs that do well. Those were dogs. So it might have been something, but Bueno, I don't think Bueno is a brand. That's interesting. Boy, is it hard being a Browns fan right now. They just got rid of Nick Chubb, who is like probably one of the most popular Cleveland Browns to ever like don the uniform. You Cleveland fans will know what I'm talking about. It is such a struggle to root for that team. My goodness. The whole Deshaun Watson debacle. Shedeur Sanders, we don't know what's going to end up, how that's going to end up. Joe Flacco for the quarterback, he's easy to love, but Chubb was like, Chubb was Cleveland. So I'm gonna pass the Browns hat up. Good Lord. What else? What else do we have here? Aeropostale hat. Yeah. If you see something that you think might have been something I miss stuff all the time. I always tell people you get rich off the stuff I miss. But yeah, no interesting wallets. I don't see any leather bags that made sense. Usually every now and then I can find one of those like hydration packs in here. Didn't see any of that. Another leather wallet that didn't have any value there. Some winter hats. Not really looking at any of that. Yeah, I don't know. We might have to move on. I gave hard goods a valiant effort. I really did. So first thing I'm looking for, as you know, jelly cats. Those are just crazy right now. Prices huge. Hello Kitty, but just way too dirty. I have found, those of you that are new to me, maybe a year or two ago, I found a Chuck E. Cheese plush from the 70s. I sold that for $250. So you will find big hitters in the plush at the bins. You just have to dig. Sometimes you get lucky. And a lot of times, especially if it's busy, it's just being in the right place at the right time, right? Because you don't have a ton of room to move. It was a slower day at the bins here. And as far as hard goods goes, I didn't see very many hard goods sellers. Some of the regulars, that you do see on the daily, but just not a ton to pick through. Some Sonic stuff, Halloween buckets, Coop football. Maybe could have looked that up. Some Hot Wheels toys, like a foot massage. And this is, even though the bins that we're looking at right now are kind of picked over, there's always still a few things that everybody misses or nobody looked up. So I'm definitely still going to go through them. I'm not one that, like, if the bin is no longer fresh, that it's no longer worth going through. I definitely go through all of them regardless of the time or the rotation they came out on. So, and I'm showing up, I think maybe I got here an hour after they opened. So a lot of this stuff, definitely pick through, but there's always a few things to find. So things I'm looking for specifically, lots of homies. If you've ever seen those have value. Octonauts, not so much. I feel like the prices have come down on Octonauts figures. Just still a pickup, just you won't get the prices that you normally got for them. So if you lotted them up in like groups of 10, you probably get $20 to $30 for them. Grocery Gang, the trash pack, I believe they used to be called. Grocery Gang has value. So I'm always looking for those. Lots of like the old vintage My Little Ponies still do pretty well. So just looking for all of those. See if you can lot those up. Probably a better chance getting at them once the bins come out, but they sit in those little little divots here, so you do have to look, and it's really easy to scoop up like 5 or 10 of them. I did see a couple of random Octonauts figures, but not enough to really put something together. So hot polkas. Anybody dancing to this out there? So yeah, you can see me like I'm gonna be digging kind of like right in the end, like right in those end divots. That's where a lot of that stuff accumulates to. So it's amazing what makes it through. From what goes on in the back when they're sorting it out of those big machines to when it finally gets into these bins. But those are just some of the brands that I'm continuously looking for. I don't see any of it here today. So I'm going to move on to some thrash metal. There was a lot of good thrash metal here this trip. One of the things that you're looking at right here, you're going to have to read it off the screen. I'm not going to say it out loud. So it's going to be kind of offensive, but definitely thrash metal. And I feel like as of a few years ago, this band was still producing content. So from a graphics perspective, kind of cool, very dark, almost sinister-like, if you will. I have a zip right there. And so I think price-wise, because I was having trouble finding a lot of comparables for that band in a zip hoodie version, I'm going to throw it up there for $50. Surprisingly enough, I guess for me, since I've never heard of them before, it sells. So they're about 500 or 600 listings for that band and around 150 to 200 sold. So slower sellers maybe, but in a very small metal niche, but still a popular enough one. So I'm going to throw $50 on that. Let's see what happens. It's not the only thrash metal item that I find. You will see the rest of them here, whether I sourced it in store or once we get home, because I can catch everything on camera. But that was a fun find, and it was really scattered about. There were pieces of all of this. It wasn't in one like centralized bin or location. It was in multiple ones. So that was fun. Those were fun pickups. Gap, Can't really do much with Gap. This was Brewdog's. This might have been a shirt that you could pick up and put 15, 20 on. Brewdog Punk IPA. There might have been a market for that. It's just regular SO brand pants, blazer. Really picking many blazers up these days unless they're super unique. Apartment 9. Some Champion, is that what this is? Yeah, these Champion shorts could have been cool. They look like they might have been vintage, but I have enough of that stuff. I need some stuff that I can price a little bit higher. So Asheville, I think that might be Asheville, Indiana. What else we got? This was a Kings Island Fearless hoodie. Not going to use that one unless it's I don't think, is Fearless a specific coaster? I don't think it is. Maybe I'm wrong. If it was, then I should have looked a little bit closer at it, because I will pick up like coaster-centric items from Kings Island, Cedar Point, all that kind of stuff. But I left that one behind because I thought it was just a basic hoodie. Gaze. I don't know much about that brand. What else we have? Nautica. Does anybody pick up Nautica? Anybody have success selling Nautica? I pass up the vast majority of it. Not sure I've ever sold any Nautica, although I did wear it back in the day. This is a great pair of Polo Ralph Lauren corduroy pants, but you really have to look, and sure enough, once I flip them over, you will see that these are unsellable, at least from my perspective, because of the stain there. I don't know if that was from a pen, if that was ink or what, but too much damage there. That is a bummer. This is a Paris Saint-Germain jersey from 2010, 11, 12. It's a youth XL, and I struggle with youth sizes. And the funny thing about this is, because it's a soccer jersey, I definitely look at these way more than I used to. I already sold it for $20. It looks like retail price on those was like 50 to 60. So I priced it at 25. I priced it and listed it at 25 yesterday, got an offer and took it for $20. One of the items that I didn't think I would sell quickly because the comparables weren't strong, and it sold. And it sold and it shipped. So that was a fun little surprise with the youth. I didn't see any Lululemon this time when I was sourcing, and I just checked recently. I'm sorry for those of you that own Lululemon stock. I don't know what's happening to it. I think it's lost something like 25% of its value in the last week or so, or the last 5 days. I thought that was interesting. I do not invest in Lululemon, and I don't know what the reason for that is. I didn't dig deeper. I'll have to jump into one of the news websites and figure that out. But no Lululemon here, and I'm not having any trouble selling it secondhand on places like eBay. So I still look for it. I was going to grab this Under Armour. This looks like a compression tank, or just a compression top that I could have worn in the gym. It's a medium. It's to be too small for me. But Under Armour, another one of those brands where I don't grab tons of it, and maybe I have an opportunity there, but I don't see a lot of it. And I feel like everything I see, with the exception of the things that are like collabed with The Rock and that type of stuff, they just look so basic. Every now and then there's like a Steph Curry, a basketball shoe that when it's released for the first time will do well if you can get a hold of it. But I feel like by and large, Under Armour, I miss the opportunity often. So shoe rotation came out, and I grabbed a couple of pairs of shoes. Both of them had to be washed. I've already thrown them in the wash and photographed and listed them. It's both these right here. These are Nike Air Max Correlates. These sell really well. The uppers look like they're a little bit dirty. They washed okay. It's a women's size 8. I'll list them in the $30 range. And then the Brooks was like a Brooks Launch 7. That was a men's size 10.5. And the thing I like about that is the red, white, and blue color scheme. So I'm going to be really aggressive, price it low, probably around in between $30 and $35, maybe closer to $30, because I do want to sell them in the next week or two. But it's a great size, 10.5. And on both shoes, the best quality, in my opinion, was the lack of tread wear. So I don't mind touching up the uppers if I have to. And then getting them photographed, because the soles are an indication, as well as the insoles, that those shoes have plenty of life left in them. So one of those times where, you know, when you get a pair of white shoes, like there's no avoiding getting a little bit of dirt. So it just really depends on how grimy and how, like, just how soiled they are. And those were fine. So photograph them, get them listed. I will take it. As for the rest of the shoes, I'm not really impressed with this rotation. Some Crocs I probably could have taken a stab on, those looked like Birkenstocks, but they were something footbed or just footbed in general. I don't really know. What else are we looking at? I saw a lot of Converse and a lot of Vans. Just sold a pair of checked Vans. They sold for $21, but Vans for me, they sell a little bit slower, even when the prices are on the lower side. So, and this was another, I think this one, what was this boot called? Forsave or something like that. Forsave. I didn't look that up. That might have been a mistake. That could have been a good shoe. But it's a brand I've never heard of before. And if I have it, I'm not recalling it. So what else do we have in the shoe bins? There's a decent Adidas. Not really looking for boots. More Converse. That was an interesting mustard color Converse. Probably some condition issues with those. Like a vintage pair of boots. Steve Madden, can't use those. What else we have? You can see lots of Vans. There's another pair. I feel like I'm Nike blazered out at this point. So many on the market, pretty flooded. You got to be really, really aggressive and price them low to move them quickly. Okay, let's get out of here, and I'm going to show you at home some of the items that I sourced that I did not catch on camera. All right, first thing, Koopy, but not what is the doll you think, but this is a hamburger restaurant in Lima, Ohio. Really interesting, very unique, probably pretty old as well. I don't see a ton of these on the marketplace. I think this is vintage, although it is double stitch. So let's pump the brakes on if it's vintage or not. I'm not sure if it's 20 years old or not, but the restaurant location, the Lima location, definitely much older than that. $25 on this. It's just unique. It's different. I think it's probably long tailed, but I picked it up because I originally thought it was the dolls that you are familiar with seeing, and I think it is just spelled different. Like there's Kewpie, and then this was Kewpee. So a slight difference. I don't really know what the difference is or how it came to be, but let's just say 25 on this shirt. Can you hold this? Hold that like that, and then I'm gonna hold you. Okay, hold that up to the screen. It says Children of Bodom. That's an all over print. Now flip it over. Flip it this way. It's an all over print zip hoodie from their 2009 Blood Drunk tour. As far as zip hoodies go, there aren't, again, just not a lot of them for this band, but this stuff does sell. So I think I'm gonna list this one for $100. I think there's a market for Children of Bodom apparel that's unique at that price point. So I'll start it at 100 and we'll see what happens. I'm not the type of seller that generally goes in and reprices things. Although if I continue to stay slow like this in June, it's probably something that I'll reconsider. But it's a pretty solid and pretty vibrant all over print color scheme and graphics. So I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, another like thrash metal, death metal, heavy metal type thing. $100 on that. A couple of hats. Some of these might be redonated. I just grabbed them fast, and because they're light, I didn't really do the research when I was in the bin. So hold up that first one for me. This one is a Salt Lake 2002 Olympic Winter Games hat. I haven't run any of the comparables, so I don't know if this is worth you picking up as well. It's vintage American Needle, so it almost looks youth. This looks really small. Salt Lake 2002, 1997. How is that even possible? It says trademark 1997. I don't know. Anyway, it's a 2002 hat, still vintage. All right, hold up this next one. Next one, Cleveland Indians, Chief Wahoo. It is a strap back with the Velcro on the back. Don't use Velcro in your listing if you weren't aware of that. They will Vero you. They are intense about their trademarks and their copyrights and their copyrighted brand names. This is a youth hat as well. I feel like the market has slowed a little bit, at least for all things Chief Wahoo, as Clevelanders get more used to calling them the Guardians and embracing that as their new brand. So we'll see about that. And then the next one here, Raising Cane's. I love picking these hats up. They always sell $12, $12 to $15. But really, hats at the bins, they add up. So even though it brings my ASP down a little bit, they still sell. And this one still has the look on the inside. Like I might be able to list this as brand new without tags and maybe get a little bit more money, but they always sell. So Raising Cane's a good pickup. The Chief, Salt Lake 2002, who really knows about that one? Hold that one up. So that, can you go higher than that? There you go, good. Okay, this one, you can see it says Wonderbus Music Festival from 2023. This took place in Columbus, Ohio. You can put it down, darling. I always say if you can get familiar with things that are going on locally around you, because there are pods of things that will still sell, even on eBay. And even if you don't want to sell them on Marketplace, like this shirt would be it would probably be a good candidate for me to list on Marketplace. I'll still put it on eBay, but this festival, like Friday, the headliner in 2023 was Pitbull. Saturday was Demi Lovato. It's front and back. It is a festival that hasn't been held since 2023. They're in some type of legal battle with some people up in Cleveland. So go ahead and get that. So I don't really know what the story is behind all of that, but I think this is good for like $25 to $35, whether Marketplace or whether eBay. I like picking items up like this too, and I encourage you to as well. Look at look and find out what's going on in your local markets, because there's money there as well. Next one, Skeleton Witch. This is another one of those obscure, at least for me, obscure death metal, thrash metal bands. On the front it says Soul Thrashing, Black Sorcery. So another zip. Gonna probably put this up for 50 as well, between 30 and 50. It's got a very cool graphic. This is definitely like an appealing art style to a certain niche, and especially if you're a fan of the music as well. There are some people that would buy this just for the art, but my guess is that Skeleton Witch is gonna sell. It's an extra small, so I think it would fit a woman pretty well. It almost sounds like it's a woman. I listened to like a little bit of it as I was trying to do my research on the band, and it sounds like a female vocalist. Like, don't rake me over the coals if that's a man, but I don't know, this might be a woman band, a woman like thrash metal band, which would be pretty cool. So again, a lot of this just floating around in the bins this trip. Let's say 50 on it. All right, and that's gonna wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed that trip to the bins. If you wanna see more bins footage, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Let me know in the comments. And that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next one.